Jon Bon Jovi, what's up, man?
Hey,
What's
Zane.
up?
I'm so happy to be here. I was excited flying cross country to do an interview. That's rare.
Dude, I can't believe you did that.
I'm
Holy
very happy to be
times
here.
must be real tough for you to come I don't even know, bro. What 0.0 is this now? If 1.0 was
right.
kicking down the door of those brawler bars and just trying to get one person's attention, if that was 1.0, what 0.0 are we at this point with the band?
At least 4.
Well, there's 4 parts of the documentary, so at least 4.
At least 4.
But there's going to be parts of it that mean something to you, mean something to the fellas, mean something to the team around you. The emotionally intelligent parts that don't be part of the big story that just fit in. We're way over 4. It's been such an incredible journey. I'm so grateful. I'm almost emotional. We've only just got started.
Thank you.
You know, it's incredible. We're all still here. We're alive.
Amen to that.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
It's kind of what's most important in a strange way. And I think that's what really permeates through this album is a sense of like life.
Yes.
You've always done it, but you've done it through the lens of you've been very generous with your records. You can do it.
Yes.
You can go and get
Optimism,
it.
yes.
Optimism, faith, keep the faith.
Yes.
This feels to me like a love letter to yourselves.
Well, thank you. There's a lot of joy in this. And it was a decade in the making because of that. Trials and tribulations in a real career. There's a lot of ups and downs. And what I mean by real career is a long span of 4+ decades.
I didn't even think we should use the word career before at least 20 years in the business.
I'm with you, and I don't want to sound pompous about it, but talk to me about a career after 20. And when you get to 40, now we can start talking about this for real. But anyhow, then you're going to have peaks and valleys. In the last decade, it's been hard to find joy for a number of reasons. One that we shared all together, which was COVID. A period in time that I didn't anticipate, which was this vocal surgery. That was not a joyful period. The This House Is Not For Sale record was a statement record because, Richie had left the band. It's the first time I made a band record without, an integral part of the band. So it took me this decade to get back to joy.
Wow. I mean, think about all those things that have gone on and what they really are is a byproduct of determination. If you think about it, you could have checked out at a certain level of success, continued to make music in a different way, but without that sense of like, it's Bon Jovi time.
Yeah.
You could have found a way to live a different kind of life.
Yeah.
People do it. People do it. But you were so determined to continue to create, to continue to inspire, that life caught up with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what
the
happens.
joyous aspects of life. Life was always there. Even the downside is an opportunity to learn. Every obstacle is a part of the path, and that's what leads you to where you get to today, right? Without those obstacles in the way, that's the journey, as that book says. But a big picture. Nobody enjoys the stumbling. Nobody wants to go through the dark periods to get to the light. But when you get to the light, it's even more joyous.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some of this.
Okay.
It's impossible not to reflect on some of these things. And I want this to be a joyous conversation because the album Forever is joyous and the documentary is a celebration. And there's a lot of positive things on the horizon, I'm sure, because you wouldn't be working this hard unless you wanted those possibilities.
Correct.
But we do have to discuss some of the challenges because I think they are also part of this album. And first of all, you sound amazing on this record.
Thank you.
How much of a challenge has it been to get your voice back to a point where you feel good recording again?
The recording was hard work, but as I sit here today, which is now 6-7 months ago when I was doing the vocals, I'm so happy. After Monday's rehearsal, after Tuesday's rehearsal, after getting on the plane, after waking up this morning and go, holy Christ, I absolutely can go hit the high notes tonight.
Amazing.
No problem. So it's starting, to come into its own. Look, I've been honest about this whole process. It has sucked. There's not a lot of people that have had this kind of surgery.
And it's a replacement surgery.
It's an enhanced implant. What it is, it's a plastic implant outside of the vocal cords on what's called the vocal folds, which are the muscles that move your cords together.
Wild. You have a plastic.
I am the bionic
You are
man.
the bionic voice.
Yeah.
Holy.
But I went to see the surgeon, and he said, look, you're still getting better all the time. You know, just, you got to be patient. And he didn't give me any patience in the surgery. But Shania Twain went through this same thing. And she said, you just got to be patient. And she's having the best time of her life right now.
It's crazy because I spoke to her maybe last year, Colin. I think we sat down at the beginning of last year and spoke to Shania. She was open about it as well. And it's the same word that came out of that experience was joy. She literally said the exact same word. Yeah. How much of that now? I've spoken to two people who have been through a similar life.
Same doctor, same everything. Just her and I.
So to me, the most obvious human connection between the joy and the challenge is the chance to keep doing it.
That's right.
The chance to, like, damn, I knew I could sing before. Now I still get to.
I still get to. Right. Yeah. What we used to say is, you know, we get to play music. You know, we get to play, just be children and play. And, you know, that was taken away from me because of the physical limitations that I was suffering. And that leads to all kinds of mental illness,
I was going to say, how was it for you? And also, without betraying any trust, but on a human level, because I think you trust me. I hope you trust me.
I do.
How much of a challenge was it for you and for your family going through this when there's so much unknown attached to it, so much potential change in the way that your identity, how you see yourself, hear yourself? Tough.
No, yes, no. Yes, no, because, and here's the truth, because I've figured this all by now, I've gone through it. I haven't had to mourn the loss because I haven't given up yet. And there's the procedure is successful and it's proceeding and it's getting better all the time. So I didn't have to get to that place like an athlete who, you know, throws that last touchdown and he can never go and play in a Super Bowl again because now he's done, right? So I don't have to deal with that. But the family were very supportive, and I was really, I swear to God, and I stand by it still, if I couldn't do it at the level that I'd grown accustomed, I am not identified by what I've done in my life. I've already done that. You know, I'm good with that.
You would have been at peace with that. I'm
totally at peace with that. If I still can't tour, I'm good. I'm good. You know, I've made 18 albums. I've conquered the mountain. I'm good.
It says a lot about your character. And it shouldn't come as any surprise. In fact, it doesn't come as a surprise to any of us who are fans of your music, because I feel you've been showing that determination and that also, but with equal measure in your writing, that ability to accept whatever outcome presents itself.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not dying of cancer here. Like I'm an entertainer. You know, I get to do this by the grace of God and because people care enough to listen to it. But big picture,
but also, can I say
I'm healthy.
But I just want to add to that, because I think it's important that even for people who are going through potential real life risking illnesses and things, I think that they identify with you and your music because somehow, even though you're not going through that, you find a way to speak that language and to tell people you can get up.
Yes. For the longest time, I mean, our bumper sticker just said optimism on it, for sure.
That's it.
You know, I love to think that we were helping people feel better in the morning. You know, absolutely. That's a great point of pride for me. Yeah.
So what role, if any, has the term, which now has become more commonplace, and I love it as a tool, even if it doesn't necessarily, you know, achieve immediate results. I love the idea of what it represents to the term optimism, manifestation. Yeah. Looking back on this now, back to 1.0, you and the boys trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Do you think you were manifesting, even subconsciously, to try to get here?
You couldn't have been aware of anything this far in the future, even in your own little way. I think it was one foot in front of the other in those first formative years. But that innocence and naivete is so beautiful. It's so beautiful because it dares you to go and dream. You know, there's no kind of fear of the unknown. It's just, let's go. So if there's anything, boy, when I run into a parent today with, you know, saying, I would never let my kid go chase. And I just look at them like, a lot of people will say that.
That's fear-based.
Fear-based. You know, they expect him to be, you know, doing a job that they envision him doing and not letting the kid dream to be what he wants to be. And I run into that a lot. You know, so look, going back to the band 1.0, we were young and dumb and, you know, we didn't know any better and it was great. What an adventure. And I don't live in fear. The only thing I lived in worry about when I was broken was, oh God, is it any good? Is it any good? Is it any good? I'm trying to hold that body up on the ladder.
And will I know if it's good enough? Or will I just want it so bad Because that's the other thing, right? Like I know, I love what you said about being at peace and wanting to retain the quality of your performance and the words and what you're trying to achieve. And we're funny creatures, aren't we? Like there's every possibility for a minute until someone had the courage to tell you where you might have gone, no, I'm hitting it.
Well, at least I knew that I was giving it my all. With every ounce of my being, I was giving it. I wasn't faking it. I was scrutinizing every note of every song. That's for sure.
So did the opposite occur? Did Jon or anybody in the studio go, Jon, you sound great. Like I know this is different for you because you're coming from a different place where you're trying to find your voice out of this really traumatic surgery, but you sound great.
During the recording of the actual record, yeah, John Shanks, my co-producer and dear friend, he was so patient because he wouldn't let me worry when it took longer to sing the tracks. And then I've also smartened up and I'm not writing things that are, for 25-year-olds to sing. There's no more high C's in the songs. It was a good idea at the time.
We're not setting sail on the high seas anymore, my friends. That boat now sits in the dock.
Yes, sir. Sorry to say.
Yeah, but you know what? There's power and passion in all range. And I think
it's absolutely.
You've found a lot of energy on this album and the songs really showed up. And isn't it funny when the songs show up?
It's a miracle.
It's the magic
absolutely
part
a miracle.
Of it.
It's a miracle. Yesterday as we were rehearsing, and we're playing Legendary now, just banging it out on every time we get together, I can't help but smile. Like halfway through calling out, 20 some odd songs a day, I jokingly looked at my own band. I go, okay, time for a hit. And then I just laugh and they're all like, you're such an ass. I go, yeah, I know. Because it feels so good to know, holy Christ, we wrote another hit.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
Yeah.
Because you don't know. Every time you write a song, you think it's the best thing you ever wrote. And then, you play it and then it works. And
yeah,
then
but your hits are different.
Well, there's been a lot that we've thought were those songs and that didn't work. I can remember a record on the last... there was a song called Because We Can, a wonderful song on the last record that Richie played on. And I said, man, that's a smash. I know it's a smash. It feels great. I can't wait to play it. Got in front of that stadium crowd and it didn't quite work. And I was like, I don't know what was wrong because I love it, but it didn't work. With Legendary, you just know the minute you put it on, oh man, we wrote a smash.
When you write a song like Legendary, and this is a band effort, the band today, you're in the studio,
yep,
you're figuring it out. I got to ask, there must be a little moment of you, as great as it is and as much as you love it, that just wishes that Richie could have had that experience on this song. Because...
oh, yeah, sure. I mean, he was there for 3/4 of the dream, but like I've said 1,000 times now, being in a rock band is not a life sentence. He had issues, substance abuse issues, emotional issues. He wanted to be a parent that stayed home. We love him regardless. And then he quit. Why would Tico or David or Hugh or myself ever want to be like unemployed? No. So he was unable to go next step with us. I love you, but I got a show tonight. I got a record to make.
How was it when you were looking at the rushes of the doc and you were seeing some of his thoughts and observations for you? Because I don't know what the nature of your relationship is. And in a lot of ways, it should remain between you. It's a friendship for life, and it's not my business. But the documentary is on the record, and I wanted to know how you felt looking at some of those comments and things that he said with you not in the room, and how it felt to sort of hear from your friend through almost a third party, almost like therapy, I'd imagine,
Well, one of the beautiful things that Gotham Chopra did with this film was he captured everyone's truth. I'm not the producer of the film. I didn't cut the final cut of this film.
You couldn't be right.
I did not. I didn't want a vanity piece. I didn't want a puff piece.
Yeah.
He did two things. When I had asked, I said, hey, man, I got a great idea. We should all get in the room together and talk. And he yesed me to death until it was finished. And I went, oh, I see why you didn't do it. Because although there will be things in this film that I don't necessarily agree with, I'm not going to sit here and rebut them because that's your truth. And not just Rich, but David or Tico or Hugh or Phil X or Shanks or anyone else that was involved in the film, including me. It's not my perspective. It's our perspective. It's our story. Richie had more than one sit-down interview. He had months to submit his thoughts with Gotham and the editing team. And I know that for a fact because they told me. So there's no ill will. And I just say, hey, cool, if you think 40 years later that Runaway wasn't such a good song. That's cool. You joined my band. It's cool. I'm not even offended by it. I was like, yeah, I know.
It's such low-hanging fruit in a way.
It's okay.
Do you know what I mean?
It's fine. It's great. It's okay.
Principles are funny things.
It's all good. It's
change.
all, how many times did you hear John Lennon was, dissing silly love songs, after the fact?
Well, at the end of the day, right, the people that we know the best, that we love the most, that we've shared the most amount of time with, it's the zingers.
It's okay.
A few little zingers in
Yeah,
there.
man. Believe me, I keep going back to the idea that no one has cancer. We're alive.
Yeah.
A singer? I'm from Jersey.
Yeah.
I can take it.
Yeah, but there must have been a time, thinking about this, true, you cut different in Jersey.
Yeah.
There must have been a time, maybe during the 2.0, or even the 3.0, when it's like, hey, we cut our hair and we're bigger.
Right.
Which for a time, it felt like in the 80s, anybody who divorced themselves from what was big in the 80s, good fucking luck.
That's right.
And you came out of that and were like, holy shit,
Yep.
fuck you, we're bigger than any decade, right? We'll survive it all.
We did.
So there must have been moments when stakes felt high, and yes, I understand now, getting to know you better every time I meet you, that there is a strong, holistic balance you strive for in your life to put things in perspective and stay focused.
Yeah.
But were there times when it got big and thrashy and hard to see the forest from the trees?
Yeah, there's no manual for this kind of stuff. And there were very few people that were going to share their experiences with you. So back in those days, like when we had therapeutic help, right? When I brought somebody in to actually meet with the band, or when I decided
When
to
was
start
that, by the way? What do you
91, 2. Starting Bon Jovi management was crazy talk. And I was like, no, guys, just give me a second. Think this through. This is good. Think of us like a family. This is the difference. And I remember meeting Paul McCartney many, many years ago and saying to him, the other two guys just went back to their planet. Because truthfully, there was no... Imagine if the Beatles had somebody in a neutral position to come in the room and talk to them and say, boys, you're the Beatles. Let's figure this out. And
Well, I have a different theory about the Beatles, man. I think they exhausted their creativity in such a short frame of time. I don't think they had anything else to say to each other. It was crazy. Like, think how much music they made.
It was beyond. They're from another planet.
Another
as
planet.
I say. They're from another planet. But Paul still has the work ethic of an 18-year-old right now.
I know.
When we saw each
I
other,
know.
2 times ago at Henson, he was in the other studio making a new record.
I heard the rumors.
So I think that he very much could have tried to hold those guys. But the point is that I took this direction. The guys followed. It worked. And so those are the kind of things that we did that was unique. And so we loved the whole grunge movement because it cleaned the house, but we didn't think we were ever in trouble.
But you were never grunge, but you were also never heavy metal.
No.
And when you first came out and with Slippery When Wet, because of the hair and because of the big videos and the performances and even the fact that there were guitars and voice boxes and whatnot, everyone's like, oh, this is metal.
No.
It's not metal.
No, it was Bon Jovi.
It's rock and roll.
It was just Bon Jovi.
It's Bon Jovi.
My goal looking at the Rolling Stones was when you walked in and you heard a record and you go, oh, it sounds like the Stones. My goal was that somebody would hear a record and go, yeah, it sounds like a Bon Jovi record. That was the dream. That was the thing that you wanted to attain. Something that somebody said sounded like you. Not like something, but sounded like you.
The phrases that you said about this album, which really stuck with me, was that you have nothing left to prove.
Right.
That this album is free of any expectations that others may feel they should apply to Bon Jovi, to success, to this, to that, to legacy, whatever. Nothing left to prove.
Right.
What does that feel like?
It's all part of my life journey than comparing that statement to a record. I feel like at this point in my life, I've gotten really comfortable in my own skin. I'm not playing anybody's game anymore. I just don't give a darn. It just doesn't, that's not the motivation to do any of this. It's not money, it's not fame, it's not applause, it's not even hit records. You write a song because you like to write a song. Then you're excited when people like it. It's just showing them your new toy and you go, hey, you like my new toy. So that's really where it stops for me. But it's all part of that journey. Parenting is very similar. When you have a new baby, it's a baby, right? And then you sort of see a lot of other parents with the babies in the strollers and you're figuring it all out because there's no manual that came home with you with the baby. But, no one told you about the toddler years, the teen years, and by the way, wait till they're getting married. Nobody tells you about chapter 4.
Fuck, man. I am so scared. I'm so scared. I'm
baby.
in the teen years right now, and we're just getting through it.
It's quite the journey.
Well, you put it in a song.
Mm-hmm.
You put it in a beautiful song, man.
Thank you.
Kiss the Bride, it's I think this is one of the hardest songs, subject-wise, to be able to write. For a lot of different reasons. As a lifelong fan of music, someone who studied it and talked to thousands of people about it, about all kinds of subject matter. Matters of the heart, pure, uninterrupted, right? Unaffected, pure, clear water out the tap. Super hard to write about.
Sure.
I think.
I agree. But when you have something that's, it's not just, one night and then I fell in love with this girl.
That's what I mean.
This is your baby. This is the baby that came first in our family and to the band and and then I got the girl about her when she's 5 and now she's 30 and you're writing this song to walk her down the aisle. I'm crying writing it and I'm crying singing it in the studio and
I'm nearly crying
now. She was the last person in America to hear the song. I just gave it to her last week. She's like, listen.
Nah. Wait a second. You played it to me. You said 2 weeks ago. It was way before then. It was like months ago.
She saw me on Good Morning America and said, okay, I'm ready to hear it.
Yeah. Fucking song?
This is just a week ago, 2 weeks ago now. Yeah.
Oh my God, imagine if...
Yeah.
You could have done the best prank in the world on her then. You could have gone in for half a day and just got a clown song. Just be like, what? You're getting married. You're getting married. I'm going to kiss the bride. I'm going to kiss. You could have had so much fun with her.
You're right, damn it. I blew that one.
Nah.
Why coulda, shoulda.
Why ruin the perfect moment? But I got to ask you, man, because it's the first time I've ever spoken to anyone who's written a song like this and waited this long to play it to the person it's about, an integral moment as a parent to a parent without betraying any trust. Can you please try to describe in words that are appropriate how it was when you played the song for your daughter?
I tell you the truth, I had to send it to her because now I was on the move and I have not heard her response. Wow. How about that? I have not gotten a response.
It's deep. It's deep for her.
Yeah.
It's deep.
Yeah. And her 2 brothers are getting married before her, so she's like just in her own little world right now.
It's deep.
So it's cuckoo.
I
have not gotten a response from Steph. Steph, call your daddy.
When she's ready. We can't rush those reactions.
No, I didn't expect her to call me, 30 seconds later.
Yeah, it would have been would have been worse in a strange way.
Yeah.
I want to talk about something that the idea of life returning, not just evolving and growing and new experiences, but something as simple as the Univox coming back into your life.
Oh, yeah.
It really grabbed me that and made me think about the fact that we're always trying to move forward, but some things are waiting for us to catch back up to them. And I wondered how that simple experience of picking that instrument up, that without it, might have been something very different because instruments talk to
Absolutely.
We talk to our instruments and they talk to us.
Absolutely.
Can we just be a bit granular for a second? Because I just love that story.
It is a cute story. I had sold my very first guitar. It was a Univox Sunburst Strat kind of looking guitar, $100 Japanese guitar. And I loved the guitar when I was a kid, but you aspired to have a Gibson or a Fender, right? That's what the
So you traded it in.
I sold it to a neighborhood kid for $100 because a Telecaster cost $389. And I thought, okay, I got 100, I can save up, and sold it to a local kid. And 45 years later, I am at the Soul Kitchen, and one of the volunteers said, I know the guy you sold it to. Now, I do remember the kid I sold it to because he was a neighborhood kid, and he had grown up in the neighborhood, stayed in the neighborhood, became a policeman in the neighborhood, and was now moving away. And she said he would be willing to get it back to you. And I said, I'd be willing to pay for it. I'd love to buy it back.
Yeah.
Very simple agreement, very simple arrangement. He said, would you meet my kids? I said, absolutely. I said, I'll give you another guitar. Could I buy that back? He was great and gracious. He brought it to me. I swear, this is my embellishment, that the 5 strings that were left on it was the way I sold it to him.
Unbelievable.
And I believe that those dots that I see on it are sweat from when I was playing in the bar.
Unbelievable.
Because it came back looking like that. And I don't think he ever touched it.
Wow.
In the cardboard case, he gave it to me. And I put it in the car and I took it home that day. And I was so excited. And I pulled it out of and I laid it on my lap. And I just started playing just with the 5 strings, And
How did it feel?
like magic, because I couldn't help but just saying, I got my hands around her neck, and writing a song, and saying I'm in love with my first guitar, and it just took me back to being, well before the Expressway, even like my very, very first band, singing old Kiss records in my folks' backyard. I'm 17 years old. I'm a rock and roll star, and just reminiscing and writing that song, it's magical. Yeah, it's really cute and a happy ending to a story.
It is cute, but it's also like, instruments by design are supposed to elicit some kind of connection.
They are.
To something we don't understand.
Right.
They are a portal to something.
It's the vibration. It's the vibration of the strings, the piano, the guitar. It's the vibration. They enter yourself.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I
see it across the room. You're going to play a simple G chord and it's just going to resonate.
I'm just going to pick it up.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to, you know what? But I feel like I want to go somewhere else.
There you go.
But I am going to hit a simple G chord. Now, man.
Different story.
My entire day's changed.
I agree.
My entire day has changed. Like, man.
And the capo puts it up into a happier place.
Now I'm feeling different to how I felt 10 seconds ago.
Absolutely.
And what I love about that is that this story in particular is that guitar was your portal to something you didn't understand.
Yes.
And then it waited for you.
Yes. Yes. And came back and talked to me directly. I left the room with the song. And so I had to include it on the record. I was hesitant because it was one of the last ones to get added, and I was like, oh, I don't know, guys, this one's a little out there. And they were like, oh, no.
No, I love it.
It's part of the story.
My first guitar, song number 11. It's a beautiful song on an album which is called Forever. I said at the very beginning of our conversation that you are generous, you're a giving person, not just with the songs and with your ability to be able to tell stories that resonate with people all over the world, right? Human experiences come to life through music. You actually give. You've turned your success into something which helps, which not everybody does.
It's not their job.
No, and I don't expect people to do it, but I respect it when you do.
Thank you.
So can we talk a little bit about that side of your life? Because it's not one you yell about. It, by its very nature, should probably be quite a private pursuit because it's as much for you as it is for anybody else,
Even
right?
more.
Right.
Yeah.
So when did that begin for you? When did you realize that actually, for lack of a better term, philanthropic or charitable exercise is one you liked as well as physical or mental exercise?
When you become a part of, it can predate the band, okay? So it's the seeds are planted as you're a kid. I don't know how or why, but there's little things that are obviously subconscious. Once you're in a band and you're out in the public, chances are they're going to rope you into some kind of ribbon cutting and you don't really even know why you're there. You see these young artists, right? And I would have been one of them at some volunteer something or other, and you don't even know.
Most of the time, people are hungover. They're like, let's just get this done. I did my bit, whatever.
To do the photo op, right?
Yeah.
When I started to get more serious about philanthropy was having traveled the world as much as we had, seeing that there was, a lot of have-nots in this world that are hardworking people in towns that, are your neighbors, right? And some 20 years ago, it came into focus for me when I was, and this is the kooky part, was the co-owner of an arena football team. And it was the thought process that I had was
you were going the other way, my friend.
It was completely, crazy. But I said, we need to be more philanthropic to endear ourselves to the community. And so I founded the foundation, the JBJ Soul Foundation. And at first we were Robin Hood, but then I got it. I said, there is a homeless man sleeping on the street in Philadelphia. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, black or white, Republican or Democrat. This can affect any and everyone, and you don't need a scientist to find the cure. So now I had it all in a sentence. And I said to my best friend, Obie O'Brien, I said, Obie, find me someone in Philly who understands the homeless issue. Little did I know that the Michael Jordan of the issue, Sister Mary Scullion, was based out of there. Sister Mary and Project Home taught me everything I ever knew about the homeless issue.
Wow.
And from there, we started to build houses. And I'd get a lot of attaboys for building affordable houses. And my friends would say, hey, attaboy, attaboy, attaboy. But in 2008, when the economic downturn happened, Dorothea was watching the news one night and said, I've got an idea for all the people who you've housed, we need to feed. And she, stream of consciousness, came up with the Soul Kitchens. And the conversation there is to empower people. You have them volunteer, but if you or I want to affect change directly, you come and you leave a suggested donation. And that pays not only for your meal, but for someone else who are in need. And you would never know the difference between someone in need and someone who's paying.
So it's pay it forward.
It's pay it forward. There's no prices on the menu. You volunteer. You're empowered. You come in.
Oh, it's great. You know why? Because the feeling you get from helping, you're giving to others. It's
magical. And then folks who want to but are fearful of the unknown. We have this, I want everybody that's listening to close their eyes and imagine a cute bistro in your neighborhood, a beautiful bistro with silverware and plates and tablecloths. That's what the Soul Kitchen looks like. But if you were to come there and I told you the model, you wouldn't believe how many people stayed away and would say to me, well, there's no booze there. No, it's not about booze. It's about feeding people who are hungry. I don't want to sit next to somebody who might be homeless. Oh, really? What are you going to get, cooties? You know? Or people that would say, I'll write you a check. I'll give you anything you want. I said, I don't want your money.
Cooties. That fear is about facing your own inability to recognize pain in others.
Because we as a culture are so caught up in our own BS. How many times, and everyone's guilty of this, you've walked by the homeless guy on the street because you didn't take the time to ask him what he needed, you know, or just a simple hello. You know, there's all this kind of stuff that you learn with time and effort. But the situation at the kitchens is that we're feeding people one at a time, you know, one soul at a time, as we always say. And yesterday, for instance, Dorothea led a march with 500 local volunteers who were, you know, marching the streets of Red Bank to let the word be out there further that, you know, we're alive and well. And unfortunately, we're not going out of business, as we always say. We're not going out of business because the need is there.
Yeah, it's a shame you're not going out of business. I love that business, Dean. The People's House, you've been in a few of them. You do this kind of, you have great success, you might get an invitation. You turn that into doing work for the community, for people, try and make great change. Yeah, you get a much better invitation into the big halls to meet the people.
Yeah.
What have you learned about infrastructure now that you get as close to it as anyone I'll ever speak to? The idea of how decisions get made, and who's running
things. Is that what you're asking? Okay. There are a lot of people whose hearts are in the right place that are stuck inside the building and not on the street, and affecting change directly takes being on the street. And then you realize,
so the process is
I'll give you a great example. There are currently homeless issues all across America. We can agree on that. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, you're seeing it in the big cities in America. From what I've read recently, there are only approximately 600,000 people on the streets of America. We are a country of 300 million. How hard is that to figure out the mental illness and the housing aspects of this? We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. It's going to save your emergency rooms and the ambulances and the insurance companies. It's very easy. Well, it's not easy. It's difficult to do. We can do it.
It's easy in principle. It's difficult in process for some reason.
Yes, it is. But there are many people that I was just in D.C. promoting the documentary, talking to very smart people who have not been out in the street of Philadelphia. You know, who just haven't. Sister Mary, we just had I don't want to call it a retirement. What Sister Mary said is, I'm tired of being the face and the fundraiser. I need to get back into the streets and get back to what it is that I've always done. And we just had a huge celebration for her just a couple weeks ago.
It's incredible, Jon.
Yeah, she's great.
It's inspiring, but more than that, it should be influential. And I hope this conversation takes it a little further for people.
Yeah, maybe just realize,
for me.
You know, it's not a pill. We don't need a pill. We don't need a scientist to find the cure. This one's, you know, doable.
This album, man, it sounds like everything you've learned
So far?
As a band wrapped up into one record. Is it the closest you've ever got to being able to admire your band, not just the work, but actually take a step back after 40 years and listen to it and listen to your friends play and listen to your voice for the first time?
I'm too close to it right now. It's too new. Nobody else has heard it but you. So it's just so few people have heard it. It'll take me 2 years to move away from it to even understand what it is to me. It's not time yet. But throughout my career, I've loved the guys in the band in every phase throughout the 40 plus years. There was never tension making a record. Never. There was never tension on the road. You know, I mean, we were tired, we were burned out. Yeah. Silly kid stuff. But there was never anything but love underneath all of it.
But very distinctive personalities.
Closer to the same personality than you'd think, you know.
You won the lottery, man. You won the people lottery.
Yeah. These were all Jersey guys that came together around me and a song and then believed. You know, so if you lead by example, they tend to fall into line and want to do it with you and, so that we want to do it for each other. This wasn't a me career. This was a we career. Everybody contributed to it.
Do you still live in Jersey?
Part-time.
I want to ask you about why people who are from Jersey end up going home or don't leave.
Right. I'm never leaving. My license is New Jersey.
Now, I say this with a full heart. I love New Zealand. It's my home.
Okay.
But I left.
Right.
I haven't lived there. I've been away longer than I lived there.
Right.
And I don't know if I'll ever go back and live there. What is it about Jersey that keeps bringing people home?
Well, it's my people. You know what I mean? I was having this conversation.
What do you mean by that? Because you can say that about anything, right?
You can say that about people. I had this great conversation the other day with a talented artist who said the difference between Americans and these folks in Europe were Americans see somebody successful and say, when I grow up, I'm going to be that. And then the Europeans say, when I grow up, I'm going to cut him down.
The tall poppy syndrome.
And I went, ooh, wow, that one hurt. So, in Jersey, I don't know what brings us back. There was a chip on our shoulder. There was
because of New York.
Yeah. And yet we were in the same radio station, television station, newspapers. This was all very important because the influence of the globe was 25 minutes, 35 minutes away from where you were born. So the influence of the entire universe was right there, but you were in the burbs where you could cut your teeth. That was important.
Yeah.
That was important to us.
Yeah. You can make mistakes. You can get better.
In the suburbs, absolutely.
You're supposed to, when you get to New York, are expected to be ready.
You better be ready, right? So you could cut your teeth out in Jersey. The big guys that were in Jersey were not universal names when I grew up. Even Bruce was not Bruce yet. Southside was not Southside, but not even Bruce was Bruce yet. But they were making records, and they were 30 minutes away from where you grew up. So that made the impossible seem possible. So all of that about Jersey was, for me as a musician, important. But then it just draws me back.
What's the thing that isn't on the Jersey biography of why we love it? What is the thing that only you would know because you're from it? What's the spark in the people in the community and the environment that makes it so unique to anywhere else?
It is the people. We were a melting pot. We were the people that got off the boat at Ellis Island and only made it 30 minutes down the parkway.
and settled.
And said, this is good.
This is good enough. Wide open space, a lot of marsh. I'm into it.
We got an ocean.
I mean, it's cold, but it's good.
It's a lot warmer than this ocean.
It looks pretty. It looks pretty.
We got the ocean. We got the mountains. We got the city over there.
But New Zealand is just that far away.
That's the problem with New Zealand. Yeah, even LA, right? We'd land the Italians, the Irish, the Eastern Europeans seem to land there.
You talked about Bruce, and he came and celebrated with you at the beginning of the year, and rightfully so. He showed up and he was a part of it. And your lives have continued to crisscross in the most wonderful way success, but always never in a way that feels like you're eating from each other's plates.
Oh,
so
no.
so individual. How important, simple human question, 40 years in, you and I at a point in our lives, we can talk about the big picture stuff. What's been the most important thing about that single friendship for you in all of this ride?
Well, he was Mount Rushmore in New Jersey, first and foremost, right? He was writing stories about the people in our backyards. And he made the impossible possible for all the next generation that followed. I just happened to be the lucky one that sold as many records, right? So there's 50 more of me in New Jersey that just didn't get as successful, right? So I get to be that little brother now. But the last thing that a man wants to do is try to be somebody else. You got to become your own man if you're going to be around for this long. But lessons learned came with time. Lessons learned came with experience, so that now when he and I get together, the conversation's a whole different level. It's not about, oh, how did you get that kick drum sound? No. We're taking these long drives to talk about philosophical family, leaders of men kind of conversations that only, two old friends can have together. But his coming out when, I had no idea, but his mom had passed and he was literally on the plane because he wasn't going to disappoint me and not show up and be there for me on the Music Cares event. And he and of course Sir Paul. I mean, I'm the luckiest human being in the world.
Yeah, you say you weren't present enough at the time, and why would anyone young enough have the presence of mind to realize you're manifesting something? But you got your hero down the street, and you got your hero across the ocean, and both of them together kind of help you find your own voice, and then you get to be celebrated for that voice at a time when your voice is yours again, and they're both there.
Unbelievable.
Man.
No,
it doesn't get bigger than that.
It does not get better than that. It's just doesn't get better than that. It's a humble, grateful me that goes forth. Humble, grateful.
I love that. I love humility, and I love gratitude.
Gratitude.
We've got these 2 titles out right now, which neatly sum up this journey to date, and then present the band today. To date and today. Both of them, if you put them together, kind of conjure up a sense of finality for me, even though I know you don't mean them to. Thank you, good night. That's pretty final. Forever, that's a little ambiguous, could go either way. We could go on forever, or this could be forever, this album is forever. They're all forever.
Sure.
But we've got a few more minutes, and I want to talk about the future.
Yeah.
I want to talk about where you put this gratitude and how it manifests something different, and what life feels like for you going forward now with a brand new Bon Jovi album. Sounds good.
It's a good one.
It's a really good one.
That's the key, is it's going to be received rather well, and it's evident. So I'm excited. Whether or not I can tour is still to be seen. And like I said, the truth is I've put it all out there, and rehearsing yesterday and the day before is a good day. I come here happy today because the progress and the process is going forward. Amen. So I'd like to go out and do some shows. If I can, if we do, it'll be a lot of gratitude.
Where would you like to start? In New Jersey? In a big place? In a small place? What's your dream?
15 or 50,000 are the same show, because if you're not great, it don't matter. So there is no dream. There is no itinerary. There is no nothing. I know that we can play anywhere that I want to go. And the record and the film will allow for that, at the highest levels. I know that. But if you're not great in front of 15, it don't matter. So I just got to get my health back first. And every day is a step closer to that.
What's Dorothea saying to you right now, and if you can share?
I don't know if you could say this word. I share
you can say whatever
truths.
you want.
Everything's are the truths. I was singing the other day in the house with the therapist on the Zoom. And I walked upstairs to grab my suitcase to have to run out. And she said these words and it caught me off guard. She goes, "Fucking awesome." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "I heard you, walking through the house." And she goes, "That was you." He goes, "It was fucking awesome." I was like, "You don't talk like that." So it was quite astounding for her.
She was like, "Go f*** yourself." I totally do.
It was a good feeling. So, everyone sees the progress. Everyone sees the progress. There's no miracles. It's just hard work.
How does life feel now the kids are all grown up?
It's fucking kooky.
Yeah, I bet.
The chapters change, buddy boy.
Yeah. Help me prepare. Obi-Wan Bon Jovi.
The kids, you're no longer daddy. Now you're dad. They don't ask, they tell. And they're the smartest kids in the room. Yeah. And you go, oh, I forgot. I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. I've never done anything in my life. And they go, no, I know everything and you know nothing. And you go, okay. So, but then somebody will say to me, and how did you behave with your parents? And I go, shut up. You weren't supposed to remind me of how I behaved.
We're in a loop. We're in a fruity loop.
Yeah. So, but my relationship with all four of them are very good. And so I'm very pleased and excited for their futures because it's the great unknown,
It's a strange feeling, isn't it? To be so excited for the futures of the people that you love the most in the world, but at the same time trying to figure out what to do with all this fucking space.
Yeah.
What do I do with the space
I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. As a matter of fact, I'm happier. Come and visit and then, you can go again. But I don't mind that. We didn't mind any of that. And then everybody gets together and you just look around the table and you go, they're happy, they're healthy, we're good. But holy Christ, are they the smartest kids in the room.
I still think you could have messed it up, man. You could have sat down with Steph. You could have gone, Steph, I could send you this song.
I think you're right, Zane. Damn.
I've one-upped it. Steph, I could send you this song. Or I could play it for you.
I love you.
You like it? Love you, man. Great to see you,
This was great, buddy.
Bro.
Thank you, Zane.